If you're a CFO today, you've already achieved what many never will. You've mastered the numbers, led teams, and earned a seat at the top table. But you didn't press play on this audiobook because you're content. You did it because you know there's another level, and you're ready to reach it. The truth is, the top 2% of CFOs don't just manage the finances, they shape the future. They influence strategy. They inspire teams. They lead transformation. And most importantly, they never stop growing. This book is your roadmap to that elite tier. It's not about technical skills. You've got those. This is about mindset, habits, and becoming the kind of leader companies fight to keep, or competitors try to poach. Over the coming chapters, we will explore what truly separates the extraordinary from the competent. You'll find yourself challenged to rethink your approach, push past old boundaries, and step fully into the leadership potential you've only begun to tap into. You're not just a CFO, you're a builder of value, a compass in uncertainty, a multiplier of talent. And in this journey, we're going to unlock your full potential to lead boldly, influence deeply, and leave a legacy that lasts. Let's begin. The Elite CFO, How to Join the Top 2% of Financial Leaders. Chapter 1, Rethinking the CFO Identity. You weren't hired just to close the books. You were hired to guide the business. The elite CFO doesn't just react to financial performance, they shape it. They anticipate challenges before they happen. They ask better questions. They don't wait for permission to lead. This chapter is your call to expand your identity. Elite CFOs redefine what it means to lead finance. They shift from guardians of past performance to architects of future value. They understand that leadership isn't just about reporting numbers. It's about interpreting those numbers in a way that creates alignment, drives accountability, and inspires action. Let's break down the 5 traits that define top-tier CFOs. Clarity. They simplify without oversimplifying. When they speak, the fog lifts. They translate financial complexity into business relevance, making the invisible visible and the abstract actionable. Composure. They lead with calm in crisis. They regulate their emotional presence and model what it looks like to remain grounded in uncertainty. They become the emotional anchor for the executive team. Commercial sense. They deeply understand how the business makes money. Not just in theory, but through conversations with customers, frontline managers, and external stakeholders. They tie financial strategy directly to market realities. Courage. They are unafraid to challenge. They speak uncomfortable truths with respect and precision. They prioritize what's right over what's easy and act as a moral compass when decisions get tough. Continuous learning. They invest in themselves like their future depends on it, because it does. They read, they listen, they seek mentors, and they apply new thinking proactively. So ask yourself, are you a transactional CFO who reports and reconciles, or a transformational CFO who inspires and innovates? You may already feel the tension, the pull between what you were trained to do and what you now aspire to become. That's the exact place transformation begins. Chapter 2. Mastering Strategic Thinking. Strategic thinking is the master skill. It's what separates leaders who maintain the present from those who design the future. CFOs are uniquely positioned to influence strategy. You have the data, the financial narrative, and the visibility across all parts of the organization. But to leverage that vantage point, you need to move beyond analysis and into synthesis. In other words, don't just know the numbers, understand the story they're telling, and use that story to shape decisions. Strategic CFOs ask better questions. How will this decision look in 3 years? Are we solving the root cause or treating the symptom? What if the trend continues or reverses? Where are the blind spots we're not discussing? Strategic thinking also means partnering differently. The CEO doesn't need a finance manager. They need a strategic sparring partner, someone who can look around the corner, challenge assumptions, and make the complex understandable. Here's how you begin. Block time each week for strategic reflection. Not updates, not emails, thinking. Get curious about other industries. How do they solve similar problems? Develop a point of view and be willing to evolve it. Because the real power of strategy isn't just knowing what to do, it's knowing why and when. Chapter 3. Building Executive Presence. Executive presence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most trusted one. Think of the CFOs you admire. They don't just deliver facts. They deliver insight with calm, authority, and conviction. Executive presence is your leadership signature. It's how others experience you in meetings, in crisis, in celebration. The great news? It can be built. Here's how. Own the room, not the spotlight. Presence is felt when people lean in to hear you, not when you talk over others. Speak in headlines, not paragraphs. Start with the point, then back it up. Executives don't want detail, they want clarity. Read the energy. Presence is as much about emotional intelligence as articulation. Adjust your style to match the moment. Your tone, your posture, your preparation, they all signal whether you belong at the table or not. And here's the truth. You do belong. Now make others feel that too. Chapter 4. Financial storytelling that inspires action. CFOs who can tell stories win more trust, drive faster decisions, and shape stronger outcomes. Why? Because data alone doesn't move people. Stories do. You're sitting on a treasure trove of insights, but if no one understands what the numbers mean, the message is lost. Financial storytelling is about translating performance into purpose. It's about helping leaders see not just what happened, but why it matters, and what to do next. Think of storytelling as having 3 layers. Data, this is what happened. Insight, this is why it happened. Implication, here's what it means for us. Your job is to connect those dots clearly, concisely, and with confidence. Tips to elevate your storytelling. Start with the so what. Lead with insight, not detail. Use analogies, visuals, or comparisons to simplify complex points. Always tie metrics to goals. Here's the variance, and here's how it affects our priorities. When you shift from reporting to revealing, you become more than the finance lead. You become the insight engine of the business. Chapter 5. Becoming a talent multiplier. The best CFOs don't just build models, they build people. Top-tier finance leaders know that their legacy isn't just in the numbers they deliver, it's in the leaders they develop. They take pride in mentoring, coaching, and elevating others. Here's the truth. If you're the smartest person in the room, you've hired wrong. Your job is to surround yourself with people who are better than you in specific areas. FP&A, treasury, investor relations, systems, and then help them thrive. Becoming a talent multiplier means creating clarity around roles, goals, and priorities, giving feedback that's both kind and clear, creating stretch opportunities that build both competence and confidence. When you lift others, you lift the entire function, and when you do that consistently, you become indispensable, not because of what you do, but because of what you build. Chapter 6. Leveraging technology for strategic advantage. The future of finance is digital, and the elite CFOs are already there. This isn't just about automation, it's about augmentation, using tools not to replace judgment, but to enhance it, freeing your team from low-value work so they can focus on analysis, insight, and decision support. Here's what the top 2% do differently. They don't chase tools, they solve problems. They collaborate with CIOs and CTOs, not just IT support. They view digital fluency as a leadership skill, not a technical one. Ask yourself, do you know your finance tech stack inside and out? Are you leveraging predictive analytics to see what's coming, not just what happened? Can you articulate how your systems enable strategy, not just operations? Your ability to lead digital transformation will determine whether finance is seen as a compliance cost center or a competitive advantage. Chapter 7. Strengthening boardroom influence. The boardroom is where trust is built or broken. As CFO, your voice matters. But it's not enough to be accurate. You must be impactful. Your ability to frame risk, contextualize opportunity, and communicate with brevity and confidence is what sets you apart. Here's what high-impact CFOs do. Speak the board's language: strategy, risk, long-term value. Anticipate questions and answer them before they're asked. Never flood the board with detail. Elevate, summarize, guide. Remember, board members are often outsiders. Your role is to bring them inside the business story, quickly, clearly, and with insight they can act on. You're not just a reporter, you're a strategic guide. Chapter 8. Managing energy and avoiding burnout. Let's be honest, the pressure on CFOs is intense. The weight of responsibility, the pace of change, the expectation to always deliver, it can drain even the most resilient leaders. But the elite CFO protects their most valuable asset, energy. Not just time, not just output, but sustainable, creative, decision-making energy. Here's how. Ruthlessly prioritize. Say no to good things to say yes to the best things. Build recovery into your routine. Breaks are not indulgent, they're essential. Invest in habits that fuel clarity: sleep, movement, nutrition, reflection. You can't lead transformation if you're running on fumes. Protect the leader, so the leader can protect the business. Chapter 9: Creating Your Leadership Legacy. At some point, the spreadsheets will fade, the deals will close, the reports will be archived. What will remain is the impact you had on people, on culture, on outcomes. Legacy isn't built in one decision. It's built in the daily choice to show up fully, lead authentically, and develop others generously. Ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? Who have I mentored? What systems or values will outlast my tenure? The best CFOs are not just remembered for performance, but for presence. Leave a legacy that says, I didn't just manage the money, I elevated the mission. Chapter 10: Joining the Top 2%. You've heard the ideas, you've explored the tools. Now comes the invitation to act, to stretch, to rise. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. The top 2% aren't born that way, they build that way, through choices, habits, courage, and community. Start where you are, use what you have, but commit to the climb. Because the world doesn't just need more CFOs, it needs more visionary financial leaders like you. Now go lead.